Hi, Primas. I'm Roxy,
And I'm Giselle.
and this is the For Las Primas podcast.
Welcome back, everyone.
So today, we are so excited to introduce our guest, someone who truly embodies multifaceted brilliance.
She's a proud Latina who was adopted by a Jewish family and is now on a beautiful journey to reconnect with her Latina roots.
Powerhouse, a lawyer, a model, and a content creator. And if that's not impressive enough, she's also a fierce supporter of Latino, and Latinx-owned businesses.
So we can't wait to dive into her story, her passions, and how she uses her platform to uplift our community.
So let's get into it.
I just want to say that everything that I say in the podcast today is my opinion, represents my thoughts only, and isn't associated or representation of any firm or organization that I'm associated with.
All right, we have Heather Reese with us today. Heather, welcome, Prima. We are so happy to have you on the pod.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here.
We are so excited to have you. We have been on this mission since we launched in January to collect stories from real life, everyday Latina women. And so thank you for reaching out to us. Thank you for being a part of the pod. And let's get into more about you, Heather. So at a high level, what are the things we need to know about you?
Okay, so I always preface these things first. I'm a plus size model, I'm a content creator, I'm an activist, and I'm a lawyer. And I always say lawyer last because when you're at a party or at a table and you say, I'm a lawyer, people's face changes. It is not the selling point people think it is. So I'm always like, no, that's the last part of the thing that I say, because I'm very big on being a multidimensional professional, and I don't like to be defined by any one particular profession. I'm like, listen, these are all things that are me, but I am Heather, and then these are the professions that I have.
I love that. I feel like in the medical field, people will have their whole personalities be medicine.
Heather, tell us a little bit more about you. Tell us about your upbringing, a little bit more about your family.
Yeah, so I'm adopted. I'm adopted from Peru. My parents adopted me and my sister. She's also from Peru, and then my brother from Honduras. And my parents never hid that we were adopted. They were not that type of parent. And I don't have any beef with anybody who did that with their children. That's not my business, not my place. My parents just didn't. My parents they had maps of our countries in our rooms growing up. We had toys from our country. My dad got us all jewelry boxes from our countries that had coins and pictures. And we had these amazing, I think it was alpaca fur blankets on our walls. And I mean, they were just so open and honest about it. And it was never a singular conversation. I think about this a lot because I know other people that's parents didn't tell them that they were adopted, and they have this moment in life where they're like, this is when I found out. I can tell you exactly where I was and how I felt. And I don't have that in any capacity, because for me, it was just something that was always known and always talked about. I also think my dad is 6'3" and a tall hippie white man. So there was no way of confusing it with me and my sister and my brother. There was no way that him and my mom made sense to have made us. And I'm the lightest out of the three of us. So my sister is significantly darker. My brother is darker than her. So I think we also just knew biologically that we were not from them. So yes, I was adopted into a family into Delaware, and my mom is Jewish. And I went to a very small Jewish school growing up. I had never met anybody that was Latina that I can remember. And I don't even think I met any Latinas until I was in high school. And it wasn't even a thing I identified with, because I identified more with being raised Jewish, because that's kind of, I was in a very private small school prior to me going to high school and middle school. And I really started to get more into the community when I was about 2 or 3 years ago, when I went through a divorce, because I said, this is my moment to reshape my life and redefine who I am and find all the things that have been missing. Because I went from being this, good Jewish daughter to being this Catholic man's wife, to then being hey, listen, I get to redefine myself by these whatever I want. And I went on a journey to kind of find my community, relate to my community, learn, because I think the big thing and the most important thing about people is always be teachable. And I try to always be teachable because I do not sit here and ever think I know everything. That's never who I am. And I'm like, I always want to learn. If something that I say is incorrect or ignorant, please never ever hesitate to like call me out or educate me, because that's all you can do with other people is educate them, and then people can learn and try to be better.
Yeah, this is so fascinating. So, like, if you were raised with a Jewish community and you went to a Jewish school and your mom is Jewish, what was that experience like with your peers? Was there a moment where you were like, oh, maybe I am different, or there is more that I want to learn about myself, or that doesn't sit well in this group? Or did
Yeah,
you
you
ever
know,
have
it's
that moment?
Yeah, it's interesting to me. I think because I went to a Jewish school and there were people that were also like Israeli, and some Israelis can be tanner. There wasn't for me that I can remember being like a moment where I'm like, I stand out. And I also think it was like more taboo in my upbringing to just not be Jewish than to be anything else. I think that was more of like a thing where people would be like, oh, okay. And it wasn't anything bad. It was just something that was noticeable, right? Because I went to a private Jewish school. I think my first kind of experience was when I was in middle school and I was wearing a Jewish star necklace that my mom had given me for my bat mitzvah. And somebody was like, you don't look Jewish. You can't be Jewish. And I was like, what? And I remember saying something to my mom and being like, what do you say mean I don't look Jewish? And then I think that's when it kind of hit me, is that I didn't realize that there was one, this level of hate, and then two, that like that I couldn't not look Jewish, right? And then, you know, when I converted and I got married, I remember people would always come up to me, like even when I was doing through the conversion process with my ex mother-in-law, people would always come up to me and talk to me in Spanish, and she would always be like, "Whoa, what's happening?" And it was always like this thing where she was like, "Wait, I don't understand," and I'm like, "I'm Hispanic, like I'm adopted." And she knew because her child was also adopted. My ex-husband was also adopted. So, I mean, it was definitely, there wasn't one singular moment. There were like little moments sprinkled in, but they never really fazed me because it was kind of like, um, it wasn't really until I got older and I went to law school, when I went to college, where it was very much being like, you can't be Latina because you don't speak Spanish, right? That was the big thing. And then it was like, well, you don't know anything about the Latina culture. Like you don't eat any Latina foods. Like you don't eat any like quote unquote Latina foods, or anything like that. And like I was raised with like on Kraft mac and cheese. Like my parents were like, like beef hot dogs. Like, I mean, I wasn't raised with any level of like, my parents didn't incorporate the culture into our life other than like making sure that we were aware of where we came from. Um, so I think like, and I mean, like, again, I was raised Jewish. I had like challah, you know what I mean? Like I had kugel. I have zero spice in my body. Now I do. I've met amazing people as in my adult life that have introduced me to all these like amazing things about our culture and amazing things about community and amazing things about food. And like, obviously my palate has completely changed. But yeah, I mean, it's tricky because I feel like as somebody who can sometimes be white passing, I have often towed the line of like, where does my identity fit? Because I'm never white enough for white people. And then I never was quote unquote Latina enough for Latina people until I became an adult. And I feel like then I was really embraced. But I also think the more I look back as an adult, it's also like, was I not embraced by that culture, or did I not make an effort to ever try to be a part of that culture? You know what I mean? So I think a lot of it also is also like on me for not making any effort to ever be a part of it, and just kind of having one or two experiences dictate how I felt about it.
It's hard when, you have those negative experiences to try to like continue to make an effort to go towards that culture. I mean, we're also white passing, and we've definitely have had those same experiences where we don't feel Latina enough, or white enough.
Yeah, and I think too, I grew up in Palisades Park, Fort Lee, New Jersey. All my friends were Jewish growing up. Like I had a small population that were Dominican and Cuban, and then the rest were Jewish. But I remember I always found it really fascinating that I'd be like, "Oh, what nationality are you?" "I'm Jewish." And I was like, "No, that's your religion. Like, what's your nationality?" And I learned so much about the culture. And then we moved to South Florida, and I met a whole group of Jewish Argentinian folks that I worked with. We always think like, oh, because the Latinos are all Catholic, the Hispanic people are all Catholic, but like there are Jewish Hispanic people. So like, what if you are just like a Jewish Hispanic person too?
Yeah. There's definitely a large group of them that I've seen. Like, it's really interesting because a few of my friends that I've met as an adult, they're from Peru too. They don't necessarily identify as Latina. Some of them identify more indigenous, which is like another thing I had to learn, right? Like, these are things that I get to learn, and like I've gotten to relearn the way that I think and the way that other people want to identify. And like they were also adopted into some Jewish homes, and like I got to meet these other people, and I'm like, oh, it's so interesting that like at least a few of us Peruvians that I've met that were adopted in the 90s were all adopted into these like Jewish homes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And so if it's not overstepping, do you know your biological family? Like, what was that experience like for you?
Yeah, so I don't basically like I have their names and stuff from my like Peruvian adoption paperwork, but I've never like been on a journey to find them. That's never been my thing. I think that a lot of people want that. And it's never been a thing that like I feel whole. But what I will say is that I met one of my best friends who is Peruvian and adopted. Her name's Elena, and she made this necklace. She makes Andean jewelry. And I can tell you that when she was like one of the second Peruvians I had ever met. And when I met her, like when we hugged, it was like this hug I had been searching for my entire life. And that kind of triggered a thought into me where I was like, if I had that hug from my birth family, would that have that same effect on me? Like, is there some like deep rooted, your ancestors died for you to meet this thing and for you to like feel this that exists? Or is it just me thinking that? So that I do kind of wonder about occasionally. Is there this missing piece? Because after I found her, you know, I was like, this just, you know, my whole life feels different. It just feels different knowing somebody who has gone through a similar, you know, experience. I mean, hers is very different, but her being adopted, and just her being like amazing, like her being one of the coolest people, you know, it was to me like, you know, I'm like, maybe my birth family would also give me that same feeling of like that hug would do that kind of like shift in your, you know, your feeling. But I don't know. And like I said, I've never searched for them. It's never been the thing. I think that the more I get into the community and the more I learn about them, the more I might be more open and wanting to do it. But I also never wanted to come off like an ignorant American. Because I was raised in like a, you know, I'm not an underdog in terms of like the way that I was brought up. And I never claimed to be like, I've never pretended that I've went through some massive struggle. I also don't know how that reflects to people in different spaces and different socioeconomic and geographical regions. So I've said to myself, you know, I think I need to learn more. I think I need to get more educated in order for me to ever consider kind of going down that road.
Yeah. Have you been to Peru?
I have not. My plan is to go next year.
Okay. Cool.
Nice.
Cool. So let's fast forward post divorce, learning about ourselves. Tell us that I'm dying to know this journey.
Oh my gosh, post divorce has been like amazing. I mean, I'm getting married and right now, I mean, on today, like 18 days. So I'm very excited. I'm getting ready.
Wow.
Yes. To like the love of my life, a man I wish I had met when I was younger, but I'm glad I didn't because I think you learn a lot when you get older. I think divorce changes you in a way that like you can't really explain to anybody else. Like you can never explain a divorce other than like there's this amazing Kelsey Ballerini album, Rolling Up the Welcome Mat. And like it just hits every single part of a divorce. Like I listened to the album on repeat 1,000 times. And Flowers by like Lauren Spencer Smith. I listened to those two songs on repeat constantly. And I was like, that is, I think, you know, what kind of embodies it. But I think you do the shift happens in your life and your mindset. You either let it break you or you go through it and you build up. And I said, I'm going to build up. I will never let a man break me. And I think like for me, I was like, I'm connecting with my community. Like I get to define myself. Like I was like, I've been eating like beef my entire life. Do I even like beef? Like I used to order a burger because I had to bring half home. And I would eat, like I was like, I ate everything with onions because he liked onions. And I'm like, do I like onions? Do I even like burgers? Like what do I like? Because I had met my ex-husband when I was 17 years old. And I had been with him from 17 to 32. So I have to refigure out who I am. And I said, I need to find a community. I found Divorce Talk, which was like amazing. And then I was like, you know what I want to do? I really want to connect with the Latina community and see what this is about, see if they'll accept me, put myself out there, I think it was like last year, I officially started my series where I showcase now Black and brown owned businesses. But when I first started, it was just like Latina owned businesses. And I met amazing people from like literally all around the world that had businesses. I thought 5 people would respond to my thread. Like 100 people responded. I've now partnered with over like 100 different businesses, and it's been this amazing thing. And I think none of that would have happened if I didn't go through this divorce. I got my first runway gig from that, from meeting somebody on threads, from shooting my shot. Because I think the big thing about the way that my mind shifted after divorce is I always knew I was like that girl. I just didn't know I could be that girl in this lifetime. And I think that's what I learned. Like I said, I'm never gonna let an opportunity pass me again. Because I used to always say, I'd love this opportunity, but maybe it's not meant for me in this lifetime. I'm still gonna get to do it eventually. I really feel that to my core, but maybe not this lifetime. And my mind shifted after the divorce to say, no, it's all meant for me in this lifetime. And I'm gonna go after everything that I want.
Love that.
Oh my God, I can like cry about that. That's so beautiful. I think like that resonates so deeply, where there are so many moments where, you know, Giselle and I will have conversations, or like unsure of what the path is, or like, can I even attain these things? You know, like in the past, I've like gone for jobs and I'm like, "Ugh, but I'm not like fully qualified. Like, should I still apply?" And it's like, yes, apply. Yes, do the thing.
Always.
Just do the thing, you know? So I think that's such a like healthy reminder for all women. I think that's something that we really struggle with, is like feeling like you can be that girl.
I'm like really like just listening to you, I'm just like, oh, like I'm so happy for you and just like so proud that like you did it. I mean, even I have to realize that sometimes still too. It is for me in this lifetime. And it's like something that more women should hear and listen to and like make that their inner voice.
And
for sure.
through your discovery, or like, you know, wanting to like advocate for Latina businesses, like what did you learn most about yourself in your journey as a Latina woman?
You know, I think like what I found most is that what I love about the Latina community and the experience that I've had with them is that I have always been a girl that is collaboration over competition. I have always been a girl that is not fighting for something that somebody else has or wants. Like there is enough to go around for everyone. And I'm always been the type of girl that is willing to say somebody else's name when they're not in the room for an opportunity that may not be meant for me. And my experience with the Latina community is that that is a huge embedded part of it, is that we are all here to support one another, and that we are saying each other's names when they're not in the room. And that means so much to me. And I think that kind of embodied what being a Latina is and what being a Latina woman was. And I was like, well, this is kind of a trait I've always possessed. It just makes sense for me to be in this space because I love this. Like this is the energy I've always been looking for, because I feel like I had been in a lot of spaces where there were women who were like more competitive and more like there's only one seat at the table, because that's what society tells you. There's one seat at the table. Everybody fight for that one seat. And it's like what I love about my experience, and I always preface that with this is my experience with the community that I've been a part of, is that somebody is willing to pull the seat out for you if the opportunity is for you and not for them. And I love that, because I think that's so powerful and so important, because when one of us wins, we all win. Because the reality is we're the minority. So when one of us wins, we all win. And I don't care if you're winning and I'm not winning, right? I want to see you win. It's not my time to win right now. You know what I mean? My time will be the next time for a different opportunity. So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of, to me, like what that kind of embodies.
I love that. And that's something I think G and I talked a lot about when we started the podcast, was like, well, there's so many Latina podcasts out there. Okay, great, but it's not created by us. It's not owned by us. The discourse is not our discourse. So we have something special that we can bring to the table, and there's enough room at the table for all of the podcasts to exist. So that's something that I think at first we were sort of like, should we do it? Like, I don't know. But then eventually, you know, it's like, well, there's room for all of us. Why not? Let's all do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think, like, even thinking that there are a lot of Latina podcasts, think of how many podcasts that aren't Latina that are out there, right?
Totally.
There's a million more, right? So it's like, even in seeing that there's a lot of them, there's still the minority of the podcasts that are out there. So for me, it's like, I also think other Latina podcasts are willing to promote other Latinas. That's what I love. Somebody will say to me at the end of a podcast, do you know anybody else who could be on it? And I'm like, what are you looking for? I probably know a Latina in every field. I'm always willing to share. And I think that's just an amazing, amazing thing. Cause like it is, your podcast is special to you. And and it'll reach the right people. And they're the people that have been looking for it forever. You don't even realize the people that have been looking for you.
I love that. I love that perspective. And
I
digging
feel like,
into
am I in therapy right now today?
I feel like should we pay you?
I'm such a proponent of therapy too. Like, let me just say, I'm a huge proponent of therapy. And there are so many therapists in the Latina, Latino, Latinx space. So many of them. They're all around the world. Please, because I know in the Black and Brown communities, sometimes mental health is stigmatized. And if there's one thing that I can get across to people, it's get therapy. Because if you're a person that's out there saying, I don't need it, you probably need it the most. And we all need it because it's honestly a great thing to have. I've had therapy my entire life, essentially. And I think that's how I've learned the way I self-talk. I think that's how I've learned the way that I communicate. You learn tools. I'm a huge proponent of it.
We're gonna have Heather call her mom to be like, I think
I know, because we're gonna be like, therapy, you don't need it. That's not real. It's a made up thing.
we're like,
Stop talking about your problems.
So a couple last questions that I have is, tell us about your favorite Peruvian dish that you've had, because I love Peruvian food.
Okay, I would say it's salty papas. It was like that, like hot dog with like the French fries underneath. I would say any of that green sauce, like bury me in that green sauce. There's an amazing place in Philadelphia. I think it's Lolita's Kitchen. And she like makes like these big like to go things. And like every time, like my fiance had never had Peruvian food. And he had, I always say it wrong, lomo saltado. Is that how you say it?
Yeah.
He had that for the first time and he was like, yo, this hits. Like, this is everything. I need this all the time. It's like literally amazing. So we had this like pasta with like almost like a pesto, but it's not a pesto.
And tallarines verdes.
Yes. And it's amazing. It's amazing. And he was like, I need to eat this every day. So it's been great. We've gone to a bunch of Peruvian restaurants in New York. And what I love about New York is they have some of the best restaurants and they have amazing Peruvian food. And I've gotten to go there with a lot of my friends and my fiance gets to come along and he just loves, like, I love pisco sour. And like now I'm the kind of girl where I'm like, where is that pisco from? I need the Peruvian pisco because that's the real deal. But yeah, no, I had like Inca Cola for the first time the other day and I was like, somebody has been depriving me my entire life of this. Like if I would have known there was like almost a bubblegum flavored soda, I would have been slugging this down in my childhood. And then there's a diet one. I mean, I'm like, I need to find where this is mass sold because I need it. But honestly, my favorite thing is the sauce.
Yum. Yeah, I do. I love lomo saltado. That is like the one that I always order. It's a fan favorite in my house too. We love it. I love that you've been able to showcase businesses that are owned by Latino and Brown people because it's so important right now more than ever.
I've gotten to meet Latinas in different spaces. I've got to meet people who identify as Afro-Latinas that were spiritual guides and leaders. And I got to meet therapists. It's just crazy because my whole series has always been about creating visibility and having like the definition be changed of when you think of a profession or an item that you're looking at and being like, I want your first thought to be a Latina owned business if that's what you're looking for. And now, like I said, with the new administration coming in, I did adjust my series to Black and Brown because I wanted Indigenous, I wanted Black people, I wanted whatever you identify, because we're all in this together.
Absolutely. No, and that's so important. And that is one of the things that I love about this present moment is that for how tough things on the outside are, I feel like the community is really coming together. People are really sticking together. They're really trying to, like, I went to a Latina book club here in Denver, and there were like 40 women in this group that showed up to talk about this book. And they also hike together. And there's also a running group. And it's not to say that we only want to hang out with Latina people, of course. Like I have friends from all walks of life, but there is something really just comforting, maybe that comfort that you got from your friend's hug, I think is how I feel when I get to be with like my Latina friends, because there's like a deeper understanding of one another, right? Because we grew up the same or because we have similar challenges, right? So all of these things feel really hard and heavy.
I think intentional spending is so important, right? So my big message is also that creating generational wealth is a way of protecting our community, and you can be there are steps that you can take into helping that occur by spending your money how you deem intentionally to be spent, right? Like I am the type of person that I say, and this is just my mindset, doesn't have to be everybody else's, is that I'm intentionally spending with this group of people right now because this is where I choose for my money to go. When I'm buying purses, makeup, sunscreen, hydration stuff, those are all, like I said, a big part of the series was that I wanted to show that you can buy everything that you could ever possibly need from the community, because those stats came out not that long ago about Latinas having the highest GDP rate. We're out here having the highest purchasing power. So our highest purchasing power, and yet we're not reflected in businesses that well, right? Like I'm not out here saying don't buy from anybody else. I'm out here saying that if this is what you want to do, let me help you find a way that you can do this.
Yeah. And I think this is important too, because I feel like people don't know where to start with that. What's the best way if I want to learn more about this to do so?
I have my showcase on my Instagram. You can find it on my Instagram. Spans across different types of products you might want. So, I would say like go on TikTok or Instagram and use the hashtag Latina owned businesses, hashtag Black owned businesses, hashtag Indigenous owned businesses, and you will find the products that you're looking for. TikTok is a big thing. If you're looking for the things that I'm talking about, you would look on Instagram. I think I've put some of my series in TikTok, but there are a lot of other people that are doing the same thing as me. I love it. I want to see it. I'm a huge fan of Gen Z in that, because like I'm a millennial, I'm tired, right? Gen Zs are out here killing the game. They're redefining professionalism. They're like wearing like tank tops with like light little blazers and like cute shorts to work. And I'm like, yo, I'm going to wear that.
They're wearing sneakers.
I did wear.
Thank you for doing the work that I'm not doing and out here redefining those things. And I think they're also redefining intentional spending.
One last question. Have you dabbled in Spanish music? Anything that you're listening to lately?
So that's so crazy. So, I feel like I've always loved Selena. I dig Bad Bunny's album. Like, I'm out here like pretending I know Spanish singing it. I like Becky G. I feel like I like the people that are mainstream because they're the people that I'm most in tune with and like hearing. But yeah, I would say like Selena's my favorite. And I love that she was like wearing whatever she wanted to wear. Like I wish that she was around, because I think her level of like doing things that were like on teetering the line was such beautifully done. Like she did everything in my mind with grace. Awesome. So I would say her.
Totally.
Yes, I love that.
Yes. Love Selena. Good. She's a classic. We're Main Street girlies too with music.
Yeah. Well, I would say like things are mainstream for a reason, right? Like everyone likes it. It's really good. The mainstream people are good.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Well, Heather, it's been so amazing getting to know you more. Thank you so much for all the advocacy that you're doing for our communities. It's so important. And I loved your perspective, because you are Latina enough. We're all Latina enough, and we get to define what that means for ourselves. So officially welcome to the community, like whatever that needs to be.
Thank you.
Yeah, you are Latina enough.
Thank you.
Well, that was a great conversation with Heather. Should we do some cafecito and chisme?
Cafecito and chisme. I drink all my cafecito.
So last weekend, we saw Penelope Cruz show up in Bad Bunny's residency.
You guys, this residency it's just amazing. It's amazing how many people have gone, how many celebrities, how many different people from all over the place it's attracted.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Penelope Cruz was there with Javier Bardem. And that night, El Residente played.
Actually, my friend was at that concert.
Okay, we gotta call Bad Bunny and be like, I get it acting incredible, okay? Because
I'm
like,
about to call Bad Bunny and be like, I want to be in La Casita.
do I get to be the
How
one
do I
that
get
says, chover otra cosa?
I know. So I just have like a lot of expectations about having someone at our concert now.
I know. Our concert is so soon. It's next weekend.
Week. Yes.
I just realized it. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah.
So sorry, we're not sorry for all of the Puerto Rico / Bad Bunny content, because that's going to be our whole personality. We are Cuban, but we identify as Puerto Rican for the next indefinitely. So
We have the giggles this late in the, I mean, for me, it's not even that late. It's like 7 p.m. over here, but
yeah, I just have the giggles because that cafecito, I feel like I could go run a marathon right now. I'm like, who has
it hit
cafecito at 5:30 in the afternoon? Me.
That's it hit you all at once.
Well, I used to be one of those people that's like, I can have coffee and go straight to sleep.
Me
But
too.
I have lost that gift. I'm like, I'm going to be up for a little bit and then maybe I'll go to sleep, but it's not putting me to sleep anymore.
I also lost that gift. I took a multivitamin that had a B complex in it. I stayed up.
What does that even mean?
Sorry, I thought that was like relatable.
Never said anything more unrelatable. Nobody knows what B complex does.
It like gives you energy.
Why? Okay. This is off track because I know we have one more chisme, but like, I feel like when Cuban kids were little, our parents gave us it's B complex to make us eat more. Does it create appetite? I'm gonna have to go back to Dr. Mom on that one. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
So you're like, B complex. I'm like, oh, were you trying to eat?
Complex?
Like,
Sorry, I it had a B complex in it.
Also, maybe it's my Cuban parents. Maybe it was just my mom was missing.
Yeah. Ronaldo proposed to Georgina finally with the biggest rock.
Didn't know that they weren't married already.
Exactly. Because they've just been together forever. And they've had so many kids. Did you ever watch her show, Soy Georgina? Yeah, they're just rich. They're just stinking rich. The ring is insanely huge.
I did see a post online that a friend reposted that it was the hand, and then it was like what are those like? No, it was what are those conchas they call them? That they're like the Mexican cookies. And this lady like put it on top. She was like, "This is the kind of ring I want. If it ain't like this, I don't want it," or something.
Yeah, it was crazy. But also, I'm like, finally, like, good for her, Georgina. Georgina is like the I made it story of like marrying a rich man.
Because she was a store clerk, right? Yeah, she was $1 million.
Maybe my next life.
All right. Well, that's all we have for today, Primas. Thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to shop local and shop BIPOC if you can. Where we put our money really matters, especially now. So follow Heather on Instagram if you want to learn more about the different businesses that she has showcased.
Yeah. Till next time. Bye.